Welcome to the 2023 Advanced Summit Rewind. This event was orchestrated mainly of our core group and new members that finally came together under one roof. The ambition was to create a new geopolitical pole in the thought international scene where new ideas about policies, economy, and technology meet. The main objectives were designed to create a unique networking environment for all the nations that stay out of Europe and USA, mainly the South. Engage the audience in working groups towards urban development projects and collaborations, and educate in new thought frameworks and co-create new economic models. We welcome you to witness the beginning of a grander purpose. We're building a better world, starting today.
Hey, good man. How are you?
I'm fine here. The rest of us, the French call it toujours en retard. En retard means late. So the rest of us are late, except my brother Francois.
Okay, he's
So the Frenchmen, even though they're not doing so well in Africa, we'll give them credit today.
he's on his road. He's bringing new talent to the continent. God willing.
All right.
What we got to do is get him to go back home. He hasn't been home in a minute. You got to get a reboot.
Definitely. Even we welcome, French people. The reason being is they need to engage with Africa now on our own terms. It's not their own terms anymore. I'm sorry.
It sounds like a real challenge there.
And listen, that's what my brother Marcus Garvey did over 100 years ago, and they compromised him. That's what King Jaja Popo did. Tells true to the power. They compromised him, and even that's what Gaddafi did, and they compromised him. The reason was because our people did not back our own people. You see? Yeah. But if we are united and all together with one voice, that what's going on in the world right now, and I know that what is going on in Niger now, Dr. Arikana predicted this 5 years ago, but she was the only one standing. Right now, she's surrounded by millions of people, but she was fearless about it. Google it. You will see that it was 5 years ago. What is,
she's a piece. She's a piece
that
of
is
work.
strength in numbers.
Yeah. Well, we definitely have the numbers. It's just about the organizing of those numbers.
Exactly. Being focused. I know for sure Francois is still listening, although he wants us to speak in French, but we can't speak very well fluently. I only had know one or few words, enough to get me through breakfast and lunch. And without any apologies,
we have a lot of part of.
I would like to move on in English, Francois.
Don't worry.
Yeah, he's got his English well packed. He even taught me English.
Yes, indeed. Like I was mentioning, do you want us to give them a couple more minutes before we get started? I can also pull out some of the things that was sent to me, like I mentioned, going on this week, so we can start breaking it down. And then I'm also not very foreign to the Pegasus group. I believe it was my sister had mentioned the Pegasus group. We can then look at what is it that the Pegasus group are bringing to the table, because the devil is in the details. We can see, and there's also as Catalina was speaking. No, it wasn't Catalina. It was Angelica that was basically indicating that Catalina is deeply rooted. Deeply rooted is close to the ground. It kind of reminded me one of our guys. I don't know if Mr. Davis, if you remember Dr. Bremley from India, Kathmandu, Nepal.
I can't say
it was what came to my mind, because he's one guy that is also deeply rooted to the soil when it comes to leveraging the Kyoto Protocol, when it comes to leveraging carbon credit. Are you getting me? Yeah, that was what came to my mind, and that's one guy I'm going to invite. I know he is in the process of mitigating a bunch of issues with the local wars going on around the area, Mau Mau and all those places right now. But he's a guy who was visioned so much to environment and was on a mission and probably has gone very far of planting 1 million trees. 1 million trees just to preserve the area, and then also be able to monetize the trees, the aged trees all over the world and forests, because again, he knows how to turn those into carbon credits, you know. And sometimes if we start thinking that something is impossible because we don't know about it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist, you know.
Yes.
So Dr. Bramley will be another person who will be of interest to meet with you, Catalina, and then who knows what that synergy will bring about.
Right. You know, when we talk about the trees, and I know we're still waiting for our partners, it really strikes me in a good way and also in a negative way as well, because I remember probably the 10th time I went to Congo, into Kinshasa, and we were planning a trip to go to Matadi, and maybe I did tell you about this here or not, but it was disturbing to me to get on this little tiny narrow road that went, this only single road that went from Kinshasa to Matadi. And this road was, Kabila had said to the Chinese, you can build us this road, you have the equipment, you have the technology, the way to do it. And the Chinese says, yeah, we'll do it, we'll pay you guys $2 million to build the road. And Kabila said, great. Now this is a story that I'm told. This is by one of his advisors.
Give me a quick second. Give me a quick second. Your Excellency.
Yes.
How are you? How are you? Are you in London? Are you in Paris?
I'm in London.
I would like you to join us on Zoom call right now.
I'm actually in a restaurant. It's quick.
Yeah, very quick, because a guy just mentioned your country, and I would like to then let them put a face to some of the things we are doing subliminally. So quickly, and after that, you can go back and enjoy your dinner. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. I'll send you the Zoom. Thank you, Mr. Davis. When you mentioned Congo now, what brought to mind is a guy that we are working under the table, and all of us, we could all do this, because everything is centered on economic power. Are you getting me? Even these guys that they have sitting on stools all over the place in the 54 countries of Africa, is all because they have somebody who backs them up economically. I mentioned Bobby Wine, and I wasn't joking, in both taking him to Karen Bass, who maybe Angelica knows there in California, is the new mayor now in California, was the queen of the Black Caucus, Karen Bass. And Joe Biden, even before Joe became president, took Bobby Wine there. Of course, Bobby Wine is his stage name, but that's his not real name. But when you Google Bobby Wine, you know who Robert is. So he's my brother. This guy too that will join us now, I want a quick introduction because he's busy in Paris right now, or in London, I don't know. He is going to be the next president of Congo, you just mentioned. But remember, our identity is economic empowerment, but it doesn't mean we don't do things subliminally. Okay, yes. Because they go hand in hand, because these gatekeepers over there control a bunch of things. Brother Davis. Yes.
Well, I can only appreciate it, and I have to be sincere about that, because you wake up a lot of sleeping atoms within my soul. So by all means, going back to the Congo, and I'm very passionate about Congo, because the first time, and I'm gonna go back just a little bit, then I'll tell you about the trees. When I first went to Central African Republic with Francois now, I remember we went down to the riverside, and I says, oh my God, look at this beautiful sunset. And he says, well, my brother, right over there is Congo. I said, well, I have to go to Congo. I have to go to Congo. And a few years later, I went to Congo again and again and again. First, I went by myself with the Congolese delegation that came to Atlanta, met them at Morehouse. We had a great meeting. They invited me to come there because of my diamond expertise. I went to Congo. I went to the House of Expertise. They gave me a beautiful tour of the facility of how diamonds move in the country, where they were moving $55 million per month. That were on record, and there was a little misunderstanding of how they knew the value of the diamonds, and I was educating he was the head of the mining industry. Can't remember right now. That was his office, the House of Expertise. But anyway, moving forward, we went with my friend Pastor Bill, bless his heart. We were going to Matadi on this little narrow road, and I says, I can't believe how thin this road is because there was big tractor trailers going back and forth, and you could see the breaks in the road, and the roads were 4 inches of asphalt on top of dirt. And I couldn't believe that, he says, yeah, the Chinese doing this. Now, the advisor who was telling me about this, he was telling me how they, Kabila at that time, had given the Chinese, the access to the land. As long as they're building this road, they can take out as many trees as they want. I think he said they received about $2 million for this access to build these roads. And my calculus mind is, how can you give someone, as long as they want to build a road and take any tree that they want from the land? I said, how is that possible? He says, man, we have so many trees, it doesn't matter. So many trees. Now, the tractor trailer that was in front of me, it had one tree on the truck. One tree. The tree was as wide as ever. And it had 3, like in America, when you see a tractor trailer of trees, you see maybe 20 or 30 trees on the one truck. But this tree was so vast that it was just amazing to see it was one tree that was on this tractor trailer. And it was a big, giant sized root. When I went to the port, that port had the trees that were being shipped out. I'm 6'2". I'm standing up. I cannot see over a tree that's laying down.
Wow.
And that said to me, if $2 million was satisfactory to them, we have a big problem here. We have a huge problem. And
remember when you traveled to Freetown, you did mention you've been to Freetown. There are 2 major landmarks in the center of Freetown. I don't know if you had a chance to go to the dilapidated refinery in 2008 and 2009 when I went there. And I did establish cache mining registered in Freetown, because by then I had some key serious potentials, including Sonopec and Adidas and all these guys who wanted to see, hey, if we can deliver the, by then it wasn't even gold or diamond they were looking for. They were looking for uranium. This was when uranium was, you can't even say the word uranium, in 2008. So, and I knew why Sonopec, representing the Chinese, wanted that. So we went there and we delivered. There was one other landmark behind the refinery. It's still there now, because the people from Sierra Leone is a landmark they will never play with. The tree was this so big. They call it either the Iroko tree or whatever, in the center of Freetown behind the refinery. We had to go there and with my folks and we take pictures. But the reality of it is Dr. Bremley can turn trees like that become a revenue center as long as you don't cut it and leave it, because of the carbon credit it generates. Because of the carbon credits it generates. Let me call you back. I'm in a meeting. So we are speaking the language, and this is whereby if we have these fragmented values, we need to put it in the hands of those who can close the deal. That's my belief. If you look at the chamber, the US Africa chamber, and that's why I would like everyone take a look at it, because everything that is said, verify it, do your due diligence. We are a chamber just like any other chamber. Most chambers are there for transactional purposes. That's what 90% of them do. We have every other chamber relationship that chambers have, whether it is with Corporate Council for Africa or Hong Kong Chamber or this, that, and that, Black, Green, and Mexican, and all the chambers of commerce. We do what they do. But one thing we do to distinguish ourselves, we structured it in such a way. I, as the gatekeeper, my board of directors is a retired colonel with the US Air Force, Colonel Brian Sesi. And most of our board of directors are really, again, they don't look like me. The reason being is you have to put the slingshot in the hand of a guy who knows how to use it. Because the goal is to kill Goliath. It doesn't have to be done by the oldest son of Jacob or the other 11 brothers who are cowards. Are you getting me? David could have been a woman. It is a story. It's not really, maybe it didn't happen that way. It could have been a woman, but they basically say it was a child. A 12-year-old lad came from the, are you getting me? The story is so significant. I was impressed when Mr. King referenced that today, or even or when people will reference Moses, Okay, Mr. Amel is coming. I will introduce him. See, you got to use the tools within your power. Don't keep on thinking it's not enough. It is more than enough. Look at what the things that the lady behind you, as a matter of fact, you should be behind her. What she's doing.
Well, she likes to hide a little bit.
I know. Listen, the picture tells me a lot. And my big boss man just joined us, and I just told him, now the point is this: why is it that I could call somebody like Amel, who is going to be the next president of Congo, to say I need 5 minutes, or Mr. Robert? The reason being is people don't understand the magic. It's not a magic. I will tell you what it is. It's called integrity. I don't deal with you to waste your time. If I waste my time, my big boss man here, like I said, I am in charge of his international outreach globally. This man can press a button, MC Hammer, Attorney Benjamin Crump, it doesn't matter who it is, and they come jumping. And that's Mr. Robert Alexander. The key thing is integrity. I don't waste your time. You don't waste my time. I'm planting the seed of creating value. And without much ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the next president of Congo, and it's all based on full confidence. Everything you hear here is protected by non-compete, non-disclosure. If you don't believe in that, you can click out, and I do respect that. I'm being direct. Okay, Mr. Amel Sagana, again, your brother Francia can speak French. He's also in Paris with you. Just like we are working hand in hand with Bobby in Uganda and a bunch of other people that I'm not going to mention their names, we are priming him to basically be the gatekeeper of a place that could be very instrumental in the global development of natural resources. Please say hello to us, Mr. Amel. You unmute yourself, and these are my brothers and sisters, and they will quickly introduce themselves as quickly as we can. And after that, I go to my big boss man, Mr. Robert Alexander, and Lady Tasha, who is not there, because, Robert is always holding, he's a holder. Yeah. I'm sorry, sir. Sorry for the next abuse. And I'll introduce him before they go about their business. Because after that, the rest of us will get busy to do what we need to do to create value for all. Over to you, Mr. Amel. Oh, could you unmute yourself, sir? Quick introduction. You're muted.
Yeah, unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay. While you're trying to unmute yourself, please, Davis, quickly introduce yourself, Davis. Maybe we can do it the reverse way. 2 minutes, and then we'll go to Lady Catalina and my brother Anthony and my sister Renette, whom I said looks like my sister Miss Jackson.
All right. Well, until our brother gets unmuted, and I can jump off anytime. I'm Everard Davis. I'm here in Bermuda. Myself, my other business partner, Anthony Young here, and Catalina, they all flew in. She came in all the way from Barcelona. And she was a couple of days ago in another place further away from there, but I'm glad to have her here. Mr. Young here, he came in from the wonderful state, the Garden State of New Jersey. And he himself is an entrepreneur as well. They have a tremendous business in New Jersey as well, but he's a commodities trader. He'll tell you more about himself as well. And myself, I've been in New York for probably 1,000 years, it feels like it. And I've been in the diamond and gold business for now. This is my 40th anniversary. I spent time in the Congo, spent time in many gem countries, from the west, looking all the way South Africa, all the way up to Kenya as well. So by all means, Africa is my addiction. It's my passion. I may have been there 50, 60 times quietly, but I go in and I do the best I can to have positive results for what's needed to happen. You know, we need to advance our brotherhood. All right, you can take it from there if you're ready.
To unmute.
To
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Mr. Davis. Quickly, in the 60 seconds, a little bit more, over to you, Lady Catalina, and welcome to the US. And how is South America?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me well? So I am Katerina Zalamova, and I'm running a think tank about advanced cities in Barcelona. And today, nowadays, I'm advising governments how to take the maximum positive value for their countries to keep their sovereignty with the emerging technologies, because this is what is coming our way. There is many governments that are educated from the big forces, especially the American school, that they will be consumer of technologies. So they don't need to care to develop their foundation assets, talents, skills, and knowledge how to produce by themselves. They should buy this technology from the forces that are producing them. Mainly in this moment in the market, we have the Americans, the Chinese, and the Israelis. This is the three countries that mainly are exporting technology, especially cybersecurity. And this is where it's very dangerous for governments to adopt it on a blunt faith technologies, because you can lose your sovereignty. Then we are going more deeper from the cybersecurity to the artificial intelligence and robotics. If this is not in your hands when you are adopting it and you are just a consumer of these technologies, you for sure will lose your sovereignty for the next 1,000 years. So now is the time, before starting in this game, to know what is coming, to know what is the value for each country, and to know how to adopt it to protect ourselves and to build the local economies inside of the countries and become strong, not become weak because of the technology. And the technology is natural, it's not bad or good, it depends on the people how they adopt them for what purpose. So this is where I try to bring my value on the table, first to educate and shape the future of a region, city, region, country on the adoption of this, to advance this evolution of the society. I'm mainly focused on job creation, mainly focused on talent cultivation for the new generations to come, because whatever machines will come, humans, we have intrinsic unique value that we are needed, and I want to preserve this value. I want to preserve the cultures, the uniqueness of each culture that exists in the world. I'm coming from a place that we lost in the last 20 years a lot of traditions, a lot of heritage, a lot of culture. Nowadays, my children don't know where is the food, how to do food. They are totally weak generation. They cannot survive by themselves because we lost the knowledge. And this is something that I want to preserve. Africa in this moment, it's educated to believe that they are just supplier of raw materials. This is not true. I try to educate and change this vision. Africa should be the exporter of the final products of these raw materials. I don't want to see Africa to lose their money in the multiplier of the other countries. It's too expensive to just move up and down to China the resources to get it back in Africa like mobile phones. This is not the right thing. Do not say stupid, no. And to me, I started to work on Africa in 2016. Actually, since 2016, I have been working for Africa. I have my office in Nigeria. Now I'm traveling next few weeks to Zanzibar and then going back to Nigeria. And to me, my personal passion is to create a structure, physical structure based on infrastructures, a combination and design, cross-border, long scale, that can be shared between communities. So this can bring, by the physical form of this structure, a sense of belonging, that nobody outside of the continent can come and strive a war there. I mean, these wars that I see, tribal wars or some mining that we have now, the conflict in Nigeria and stuff like this, I don't want to see it anymore. And I don't want to enter in political fights and values and morals. I believe there is a way through the physical world to shaping the infrastructures, the cities, and how people are conditioning by the physical space to go and stabilize the region. And I want opportunity to see if my theory can work. Hopefully, I will be blessed by God to have this opportunity. And hopefully we'll see in the next 10 years this coming true, that the continent becoming stronger military and nobody can go there, play their video games and be the strong man. So hopefully we'll start to save lives that in this moment are wasted very stupidly. And hopefully we can start to see the people smiling and not this bloodshed that to me it's really, really painful. So thank you very much for having me here. And I am very open to anything that I can bring value to anybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my sister. And before we go to my brother Anthony, I had requested from Amel and from Mr. Alexander 5 to 10 minutes of your time. And unless with your permission, I will extend that. And I know for sure Ms. Catalina and all the folks that are here, they bring lots of value, including my brother Francois. Francois, if you could show us your video, so you can associate voices and opportunities with faces. I would like, money is only a component of production. You know, Adam Smith didn't, of course, pay lots of attention to it. But the human capital and the human resources and the cerebral power that you guys bring to the table and the relationship is so critical. You guys are not only influencers in your own might, but you have access to big influencers. There are big influencers out there. The reason why when I mentioned Mr. Robert Alexander and 360 Wise is this. We are the only ones who are the representation, the manifestation of our ancestors. We are the only custodians of our culture. And you're the only ones responsible for telling your story. And there's no one better qualified to tell your story than you. And there's no better place that I know of you can tell your story than from the top of the mountain. And that is 360 Wise Media. Do your due diligence with a click. Sometimes nobody has, you haven't even asked me a question. How come people like MC Hammer, Attorney Benjamin Crump is part of the team? How come people like Jenny Lopez are people who engage 360 Wise? And if I am wrong, my big boss man will get me corrected. And obviously that will get me in trouble. So without much ado, please, unless you extend your time, our goal here is for quick cameo appearance and for Emel and Mr. Alexander to introduce themselves. And then we can start going into dissection of opportunities what we have with lots of influencers in the next 1 week in New York at the United Nations side talk, because that's our goal here. Mr. Amel, I called you first. Your phone is still muted. Could you unmute and quickly give us a hello, and then we go to Mr. Robert. I know you both of you are very busy. Unmute yourself, sir. No, you are muted, Mr. Amel.
I don't think he can hear you. Maybe
yes. He should hear me, but I can't hear him. You got it. You got it, my brother.
Yeah, there we go.
Welcome to the party, my brother.
Can you hear me now?
Now you're back to voir, not the au revoir.
Yeah, I will introduce myself very quick because I've got people waiting for me.
Yes.
So, yeah, just quick. Yeah, as you know, you should have given them my. You should have told them about me already. So, yeah, as Sergio must have told you that I'm running for president in about 2 years' time, 2 to 3 years' time, in Congo Brazzaville. So my family have a background of politics, and same as currently I still have some of my family members working with the current government, which I don't really agree. But that's I think they've been working with the current president for quite a while. But I've been given the responsibility by the party which my father used to lead, and I've been given the opportunity to run for presidency. So personally, I'm a business consultant, which I've been doing for the past more than 10 years. I've done what you have done as well. I've traveled a lot in Africa. I own a place in South Africa myself, in Cape Town, in Camps Bay. I've got a villa there. And I've done a lot of business in Tanzania, Uganda, DRC, which currently I'm still doing business there with our current president. And I've got several investors actually who have given me the opportunity to represent them and help them with the current government to get some contracts. So I've been very busy lately working on different projects with them. So I've done a lot, travel a lot, try to do networking and try to get the right support to so people can help me for this noble mission I've got to help the people to to deliver them from what they're going through at the moment, the darkness, I would call that. So I've been working very hard to achieve that goal. So I'm very open, as I said, Sergio is my partner, so he knows what we've been working very hard to achieve everything we have set to achieve. So I'll be available anytime, to discuss further, because I'm just busy right now. You just called me, so I said to myself, okay, I'll give you that time quick.
Appreciate you so much, my brother. And when the time is right, obviously you and my boss man, Mr. Robert Alexander, you will be able to go one-on-one, and he can tell your story more than anybody else can, and he can take you to that same level that I always call the mountaintop. And I know you're enjoying your dinner until I interrupted it in Paris. And also, so is your brother Francois. Francois, would after we listen to my boss man, Mr. Robert, then we'll go to you, Francois. So proceed. Okay, Mr. Robert has given his order for you to say hello to your brother Francois, and you can speak in French because both of you are fluent in it, and the rest of us, as long as you don't say that Sergio will not have dinner tonight, Priscilla will not listen to you, then that'll be fine. Proceed. Unmute yourself, Francois. You're muted, sir.
Yeah, you're muted, Francois.
Yeah, touch your screen a little bit. Yeah, here you go. You got it. Voilà.
There you go.
Voilà, donc très content d'être là et de voir comment ça se passe. Moi, j'ai du mal avec les discours. Donc, j'écoute beaucoup, mais je suis un homme d'action. Je cherche un plan et que je sois associé au plan pour qu'on puisse avancer. Donc, la construction, le développement, et quand il y a déjà le plan sur la table, je suis d'une efficacité incroyable. Donc, je cherche encore ma place. C'est tout.
Très bien.
Merci très beaucoup. And sir, Mr. Robert, thank you so much for that, Francois. Francois is very Pan-Africanist. He's very well-centered. And I like the way he bridges the gap, because we cannot do intra-Africa trade without being able to communicate. And we cannot keep on communicating out of our comfort level. So there is something behind what he says subliminally that really is attractive to me. So
he's a man of
we will further the discussion later, Mr. Francois. You might end up being our representative. I will talk to my big boss man, Mr. Robert. You might be our voice in the French-speaking countries. Over to you, Robert. Unmute yourself.
Oh, what did France just say? What?
Yeah, Mr. France said that if you don't give Tasha a kiss twice on the cheek, that you're going to be in trouble tonight.
Peace and blessings. How's everyone doing? All is well?
Good. All is well.
I see the diamond specialist is on here, Mr. Davis from Yonkers. How you doing it?
I'm doing quite well, good man. It's good to see you as well.
It's good to see you.
Yes, yes. My apologies. I think I dialed somebody wrong. Oh, sorry about that.
That's fine.
Sorry about that. Go
I,
ahead.
I basically just tapped in to just, listen to what's cooking on the platform. Very interesting. I'm extremely so. Let me ask you this here: how are you all getting the media out and getting the message out in regards to conducting the change that's desired right now internationally?
All right, great question. To be quite candid with you, and don't take this the wrong way, but we're going about certain things in a very quiet format, a very private format for various reasons. So even though we have access to go mainstream on a big public way through a lot of colleagues of mine, I chose at this point to be as stealth as possible. And the main reason is because every time we go out with trumpets and sing big songs, Big Brother or somebody else is doing the best they can to shut us down or to turn us against each other or to find ways to disrupt our destiny. So my initial choice right now is just to be, as I've been, in this industry now 40 years and seen so many things in so many different ways, very proud of our accomplishments to this point and even to survive to this point. To the point where, I've been kidnapped before, I've been threatened many a times, so I don't live in fear. I still get back on the plane and go back to the continent. So it's not about trying to do things for any reason of being scared about anything else or trying not to make noise. Sometimes you have to be a butterfly to be able to really fly across the seas. And so that's more or less why, I have chosen to be quiet. But you can't keep everything quiet. So there is a great request for us to make more noise and to talk about things and to broaden, to invite more people. It can be done, but I think it should be done not just in God's speed, but in God's time.
Right, and when you state that, what aspect of what you're doing are you referring to? Because it's bigger than diamonds. This is bigger than diamonds, right?
Oh, way bigger than diamonds.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so we're speaking about freeing up or captivating space to help our people in Africa and abroad before it all gets tied up by China, or is that's the main goal? Right?
Absolutely. And there's a way to do that as well. When I'm talking about Big Brother and everybody else, when they go into these countries and create disability, disable, when they go into Niger, or when they go into DRC, or when they go into Rwanda, Uganda, or any of these countries, they don't make a whole bunch of noise. They just go in there and they just disrupt. And they give the world the impression that look how these guys are. It's horrible. Look what they're doing. So I feel my thing is to build an institution, just like we're doing here in Bermuda. Right now, my thing is I'm focused on building a large exchange facility that will accommodate 54 countries. So that you can't do that silently, not in a British country. It's something that you just cannot do.
Right.
But in order to get started, especially on the size and the magnitude of what this is, it's not about me. It's not about us. It's
How
about
do you vet? Because this is such high level. How do you vet who you're doing business with in that?
that's the whole thing.
Sorry, guys. I may just have to. I've been called. We have to go, so Joe. So we have I have to go back to my clients are waiting for me in the press room.
Please, thank you so
It
much.
was nice meeting you.
And bon appetit. And
I look forward.
we will talk again. You and Robert will talk again.
Yeah, I think before you jump off, I know you have
Yeah,
to go.
perfect.
Please,
Yes.
please.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. God bless.
Okay, yeah. All right, let him go. Okay. Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, well, you can say what you wanted to say to him now, Anthony, so at least.
Oh,
Mr. Joe
okay.
will get it. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, I'm also a guy. My name is Anthony Young. He's gone. Mr. Roberts, just to kind of pinpoint off of what you talked about. I didn't have a chance to say this. I am one of the brothers that they don't want you to meet me. I have a background growing up from the stock exchange in New York, Philadelphia. I am licensed as a commodities trading advisor. I spent time on the fixed income desk in Citigroup in the bonds area. I know how to finance commodities. I'm the brother who would take your central bank in the Congo, which they do not want you to be a part of. I will connect you directly to United States Federal Reserve Bank of New York. I would be able to structure bonds back and forth of United States government bonds and your bonds and collateralize your bonds, strengthen your bonds, create a whole entire wrap around your bonds and make you self-financing. I am a financial engineer, my friend. I am that brother who they do not want you to understand and do not want to meet. I will find a way to bypass those other brokerage firms, those other banks, where you now manage your own internal operations and capital to the other structures.
Right. So is that more so like creating a self-composed bank? Is that what you're kind of referring to in that aspect?
A solid copy.
Okay.
That's correct. Okay. But not just that. You're also using them as counterparts, okay, for lending purposes and things of that nature. Okay? And you also have an opportunity to take your metals, house your metals in your own security vault, maintain your metals, and then use them inside of the exchange system. Okay, and still maintain ownership of them.
So is there a proposed change of how commodities and everything would be exchanged right now as the US dollar is dilapidated? They're fighting back and forth in regard, well, there's a strong partnership right now with Russia and China, all the way to them sharing the same land. But what happens when they push that button again in about a month or two and try to put everybody in the US back on lockdown so they could complete their mission before election time? Like, how do you maneuver in that specific aspect, my brother?
Okay, now, what I hear you saying is, so if you get locked behind United States closed doors, and in other words, you're thinking that they're going to shut you down, do I hear you correctly?
Well, what I'm basically,
on the banking side.
Yeah, you're understanding that they're trying to, I mean, you're from Jersey, like I just left the Bronx. So you from up top, both of you guys, you know what's happening here. They're about to pull a big whammy over here.
Right.
How do we actually, so I think you're basically saying that we need to start maneuvering from another country in all actuality.
No, what I'm actually saying is you need to start maneuvering within yourself. Unified within other countries inside of yourself and being able to move things back and forth inside yourself. Right. Then you necessarily don't need them. And if you feel that you get locked down, you let one of them other counterparts that is inside your circle help facilitate some things.
What kind of ledger is that? Blockchain, or what is it ledger? What is it sitting on that takes us outside of the circumference of what's normal here in the United States?
That's a
technical question. Now,
that's something that Paul will speak to as well.
Right.
Because he has a different angle, which we'll explore.
Okay, for example, all right, let me see if I hear you clearly.
All right.
Okay. You want to kind of stay out of the United States, or do you want to have a nice special purpose vehicle that will be able to operate inside the United States, but yet shell your parent entity?
Yeah, it kind of seems like the way the United States is about to move, from my understanding at this point, they're looking to keep the sheep straight sheep at this point. Put them on
Right.
on a monthly wager type of scenario. You either get this shot, get this chip, or you need to utilize someone else to create your transactions, right? Because I think they're about to possibly block anyone unless they're tapped into the system that they're, whether it's an injection or whatever, they're scanning their hands right now and then in the store instead of even using their phone. So it's moving extremely fast. The US already has its own digital coin. Everywhere else has their own digital coin. But then the US is being pushed away with being the leading currency. So we have other countries right now that are joining up to, so that, what you said is so much and very intriguing. Both of you brothers. I love it. I love the knowledge. And I'm off the top of my head with these rebuttals and these responses because education is everything. Like I'm all about learning. You won't grow unless you're around someone a little bit more advanced than yourself. So I try to stay as humble as possible in that aspect so I can soak in the knowledge that is brought to me. Nothing's by chance, choice, or coincidence.
Don't be too humble. You're on top of the game, and you give us a summation of what happened in Cape Town. I understand Amir said he has some presence over there, but the BRICS just ended their meeting over there, and you talked about the impact of China and Russia. And the point is this: the opportunity for Africa is to go back to what my brother Anthony had alluded to earlier today, and it's all about asset-based currency, which means, again, it is within us, we, the African diaspora, to realize, let the BRICS do their thing. Let the UN do their thing. Let the US do their thing. You need to do your own thing. And your own thing, where you have the biggest competitive advantage, is really in what Brother Anthony does, in commodities, and also leveraging those commodities and minerals to back your currency, which basically means you end up negotiating from a position of strength, not weakness, which we have done for 400 years, and enough is enough.
Right. And I believe Antonina had something to say on this as well. Go ahead, Skip. You have the floor.
Thank you. I just, to your previous question about the communication platforms, I will comment on this. And just to finish this conversation about the financing and the currencies, what's happened last week in BRICS, I think it's a really huge historical opportunity because for first time in history to have a currency, now it's allowed to be private entity behind. Before you needed to be a sovereign government to issue a currency. Now what they are moving with the BRICS and what they're showcasing is that any type of community can issue their own currency as to the point that they're capable to round it around. If you succeed to have a powerful community.
But let me ask you, sister, let me ask you this. Are you speaking about a digital currency or a tangible currency?
Any type of currency. Currency is just a vehicle of transaction of value. So what BRICS demonstrated now is that now this is not anymore in the power of a sovereign government to issue this vehicle. Now, communities by themselves, privately organized, if they are capable to use this vehicle to transact between themselves, they are allowed to issue it and regulate it. This is the historical moment what is happening. Then you can use any technology. It can be on a paper, it can be just trust, it can be just contracts. But the next thing is that we are in another historical moment in the economical development. So if you follow the economy, we start with the bargain chicken for a horse, First was this type of transaction. Then it's come the gold. Then after the gold, it's come the paper because the gold was too heavy. And with the paper, now we have digital currency. But what is happening with the digital currency is that now you can tokenize, package any type of value. Now my time, I can offer it as a money. Now anything can be a money. So what is happening that we're speaking about carbon credits. What is happening with the carbon credits is that tomorrow you can issue a currency that is based on legacy. that what you're doing today, it will impact a few generations. You can package as a value and you can transact this value. So the evolution of economy is going outside of the currency itself. The currency will disappear as a term in our society. We're evolving the economy, the exchange of the economy, and the value. Today, it's no more about the gold, the minerals, and the earth. It's about the data. What they're trying to push from the United States with the last legislation of the Bitcoin industry, all these digital currency and stuff, is their own EIMF coin that it's based. It's not just a digital currency. It's a platform to recollect your data on a real-time behavior. And then they will control it because there will not be cash. And if there is no cash, they can cut you out of the system whenever they want. This is control, this is power. The thing is that these people that are really ruling today the world, they are not about the money. We need to educate our small people on the land, our small children, to understand why you need money. I am asking my children, they're asking me, Mama, when do you have pocket money? And I say, for what? Give me your needs. Show me that you really need money to buy something. When you have this list of needs, come to me, I'll give you pocket money. Since this conversation, it's already 2 years, my son is thinking what he needs. We're living in an abundant time. There is no poverty nowadays anymore. The poverty is here. The poverty is that people believe they are poor. They have low standards. So in my case, how I use communication platforms, I try to put questions in the head of the people. I try the people not to be, I don't say you don't know. I'm just asking you questions. And I don't want your response today. I want you to bring it in your life and decide for yourself and live by your own free will. I don't want to see anymore. You know, in this moment, we're having a huge identity crisis in Europe about the gender issue. It's a crisis. How they can confuse small children about their gender. You are not a boy. This is stupid. This is horrible. This is our war in this moment. It's huge. Why? Because if they succeed, there is no any free will. If you are confused about your identity, you don't have any base for decision making. You don't have any free will. You don't have critical thinking. This is, in this moment, urgency to save the world, because if people don't criticize, if people don't do their research, due diligence, they don't go by their own experience, they don't have this internal compass, what is good and what is bad, we are totally in their hands. 10 families out there on the top, why should be them and not us? Why should be a few people and not all of the people? You know? So to me, we need to be strategic and we need to be clever how we use the media so we can follow their keywords. All my messages are following the book of the big brothers. They speak about climate change. Of course, I speak about climate change. While nuclear energy is pure and so sustainable energy when it's the most contaminating one. This is my debate. I'm asking a question. I'm not saying I'm not about climate change. You know, this is how I use the platforms to throw back the ball in their garden and make the audience to start to discuss their policies and to start to see and say, this is not logical, this is not normal. You remember how was the past? Nobody remember. The thing that what I'm fighting in this moment is that in Europe, for less than 20 years, we lost traditions and heritage that was built 500 years. The disappearance in our world of value is so huge, it's so fast, that I don't have time. I need to be there with you. I need to travel the world and speak with as much people to make them understand how much in their life the value is flying away from the window because of moral issues. You know,
Good brother, years ago, maybe about 15 years ago, I created an ad for the gold industry. And it was a very simple ad. The ad was a person laying down going to sleep with gold bars under his pillow. And it was basically saying, you need to invest in sleeping better. And the purpose why I did that is because, when I got into the industry, gold was $235 an ounce. Gold right now hovers around $2,000 an ounce. who has more gold than anybody else on this planet? The person who controls the gold should control the destiny of money. Now, how do you go about doing that? You can take gold and create your own coins. You can do that. And of course, those that try to do it, what happened to them? But at the same time, you look at oil. I look at Saudi. I look at how they told you point blank, you want something here, how are you going to do it? You can't come in here and control my oil. No, you're going to buy it, and these are my conditions. Once we, speaking when I say we, once we as a continent become unified and creating a one currency that can be converted into, whether it's heavy or not, it's in your pocket, then and only then will you have the audacity to control money. But how do you go about doing all that? Because you have a whole lot of forces against you. And that's where you come in. You get organized. You come together. I believe earlier one had mentioned about China. China in 1973, 74, 75, and 76. I remember China back then. China wasn't nowhere near. China was, oh, please help us, help us, help us. And what did they do? They sent out all their people to go around the world, go to America, befriend them, go to Europe, befriend them, go to England, go to Africa, befriend everybody. Let's help out. And what did they do? They took the technology right back to themselves. So now China and Japan, no matter what they've been through, they rebuilt themselves. So it's just a point of us getting us together, because we fight very hard amongst ourselves. But once we realize that we feed the world. Once we realize how we feed the world, let's organize how we feed the world. And there's more that we can go into that there, but I'd like to keep things very, very simple. Yes, I love all the technology around us. It's growing. Just like years ago, we had no cell phone. You know, if I showed my children the phones that we used as we were children, they wouldn't know what to do with it. But time moves very, very fast. Digital AI is here right now. It's AI here, will be here. Digital currency will be here. But who will be controlling what all those things are based on? They're going to be based on and backed up by something. And that's why a lot of even the US and everybody else, they're not being silly about it. They're backing up all this digital currency with what? Gold. They're going to do it. I mean, it may not be the whole package, but they're still going to do it.
I totally agree with you, last speakers, and of course with my brother Francois, and of course I haven't heard from my sister, and I tease her that she looks like Santita Jackson, you know, and Jesse and Jonathan. Jonathan is my brother. Jackson is the elder, and I would also like to say this. My summation about this, Mr. Robert, is this: it doesn't matter what we do, currency, digging, fighting, and all that. Our story must be told, and this is where you come in. I'm telling you, half of everything. The reason why women buy bling bling and all those things is not because they know it is valuable. It is because it has been ingrained in their mind that this is valuable.
Right.
How you define beauty is depends on, listen, the guy who plays the pipe or who pays the piper plays the pipe. But I also want you to know that, like David said, how about the guy who owns the pipe or who even made or invented the pipe? And this is where Africa comes in. Why do we not even understand that the guy who owns this pipe is really in charge, and we should be the ones in charge? And I'm so glad what is going on, you know, with all due respect to France and all these folks in Niger, people have become to realize that the days whereby we have Africans fighting Africans for the benefit of Europe is over. You know, whereby you want Tinubu to go and fight Niger and kill them. And guess what? After you've killed half and eliminated half of the population, like Mr. Gates would like to do, whether it is through chemical means or what have you, okay, it's over. The young people have come to understand everything is exposed. It's called complete nakedness. That's the paradigm shift. And this story must be told, my brother Robert. You know how much we believe in peace and love.
No question.
I just want to share this with everybody here. Do this. Go look up the World Gold Council. Look up their report. Look who finds out who holds all the gold in the world. And then get back to me and tell me, where does 53 countries of Africa sit in that timeline, in that data?
They're not there.
Ghana's there, but Ghana's down the bottom.
And they gave Donna hell to be a part of this.
Right.
But can I make a question?
Yes.
The biggest thing about paradigm shift is this. They have standardized everything. Credit worthiness. The guy, US is the #1 debtor in the history of mankind, but they still get the preferred rates when it comes to, you guys can probably expatiate on this, Anthony and the rest of you in the financials. But the reality of it is this. What killed soccer in Africa was our affinity for Man U, Arsenal. There was a time in the 70s growing up whereby we watched the Enugu Rangers, the Black Stars of Ghana, they played the Green Eagles, and it was nourishing. But when we started shifting our mind, thinking that these guys have some kind of prerogative or monopoly on creating standards, and this is why standardization is very critical. This is why on the global diaspora, I tell people, listen, you have to go through me. I am the gatekeeper. If you don't believe in standardization, why come you believe in Chase Bank or Bank of America? People you don't even know, and you believe in them, but you don't believe me. If you don't believe me, get out of my platform.
And they charge you. They charge you.
Period. And I don't charge you. My boss man is listening. We don't take prisoners. I don't have room in the manger. Period. And I don't have any apologies for it.
No.
The reason being is we can get things done. And even if it's only 5 of us, and everybody benefits, it doesn't matter your race or your creed or your religion. And my sister who just came back from Mecca, Medina, Salam alaikum. Yes. Peace be with you. I wish you peace. I wish myself peace. And I'm telling you, the greetings Robert and I use every time we talk is based on peace and love. But it must be predicated on equity, equal rights, and justice for all. It's not the way it has always been. They make their definitions and it doesn't apply to them. They want to go to heaven. They give you the Bible, obey the 10 commandments, right? You ask yourself, the people that gave you the Bible, are they obeying it? How come they don't want to go to heaven themselves?
The truth, they're going to hell.
That's why I like my brother Farrakhan. I like my brother Farrakhan.
I have a question to Mr.
So my
Robert.
brother Robert, I thank you for your time. Even I have milk to the cow. You're about to pass out because usually he's very, very stingy about his time. He doesn't give me much time like this. I thank you guys for influencing him.
Just a question. Just a question.
What question from?
For brother Robert, if I can say.
Yes.
So
Talk to me.
you're a communication platform. I would like to know more about your ambition as a platform to communicate the story that you want to tell, and if we can collaborate in this sense, that we can build up these stories. I have some ideas. I have been in events and promoting and raising this popular. I am creating public spaces for public debate. I want society to take constantly decisions. For example, I celebrate an event in Barcelona about legacy. In a sense, I am a generation that have been educated that I need to leave something behind me for the next generations. But then I found my children are living in a culture that they're the last generation, so they don't need to do anything about their legacy. And to me, it was very strange. I said, why one is good than the other? Why we don't have a public conversation about if your life should be dedicated to the legacy, to the next generation or not? Why we cannot have this public debate that you can decide constantly taking for yourself this decision that you can pass through life not leaving any trace, or dedicate yourself to let your name on stone? But the thing is, when you let the people to think about this and they take this constantly, this decision, their life totally change. From
That's
this
right.
moment on, they start totally to be transformed because now they have a purpose clearly. One can waste their time, another will focus on their time, no? But now they take it constantly. So I'm, in the last 9 years, I was building these public spaces to open these debates and let's, like a society, decide. For example, I was involved very much in Barcelona on the woman empowerment movement, with the criticism that it's not about men and women. It's about the value of human baby. Us in Spain, as a society, we want to have human babies or not? If we don't want, it's not a problem. There is robots to come. If we want, then we don't need to fight about women and men because the baby is putting you in the role. The baby say what the mother should do, how many years, what is the effort, what the father should do. So I don't need to fight for my salary, it's down because I need to dedicate time to the baby. But we don't have this conversation. We're speaking about men and women who has it bigger. No, you know, I need to know, we want robots or we want human babies. So these conversations in your platform, if you're interested, I'll be very happy to
And
help.
Sergio could lead us there, because that was the real basis of how is this communication going out, because of course everything is being muted that's real, and everything that's fake is trending, right? Meaning the brainwashing element is 1000% in effect. So we utilize social media as it is at this point just as the bait, right? The bait is my brother gives a quick 60 or a 60-second or 90-second on he had got kidnapped from woo 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 woo. To hear more about it, click the link. Now you're over here on 360 Wise and you're getting the full story on where you're trying to take that person where it can't be muted. Cultivate content, right? Because we're totally anti everything that's going on right now. We represent all colors, all cultures, all creeds, and we've been in the trenches for extremely since 1999. I'm from DC. I'm in Florida now, but since 1999 we've been hitting the pavement behind a lot of the celebrities and the public figures, but our core audience are change makers. So we deal with the top echelon that are pushing for change. So you're correct in that. Those are quiet conversations, consolidated conversations, like my brother Sergio does with you, and setting it up right here. Now we could take it a little bit further, and we could set up pay gates in the future if necessary, whatever, to build the momentum. But they have to know where it is. Where is this message? Where is this positive content? You get me? Because this system is not about that. It's not about change. None of this. This devil system right now, it's either left or right. It's God or the devil. What side you on? There's no middle side right here. And that's how we roll.
So this way, in my case, I am communicating through events. You know, I just bring the people to one place and have this debate, because in social media, the system as they are built, the engine behind them, the technology, it's made that your voice is not heard. Too much noise, too much fake news, you know.
But sister, even with that being said, we're ahead to the point that you can live stream it straight to our platform. It can be on Roku, Amazon, Apple TV if we need to go that route, and it's recorded while it's live streaming, so that you can repurpose that content on the platform and bring these people out here in the world into it. The ones that are hungry and desire the knowledge and need the knowledge and are the change makers will be the ones that tap and will come in. Many are picked, but few are chosen. It is what it is. Evidently, you guys are chosen. And brother Sergio picked you, so we're all right here talking together. I haven't heard anything from, is this pronounced Ronita, sister Ronita?
Ronette.
Ronette?
Ronette. Yeah.
How you doing there?
Okay. It's like, I don't even, each topic is like, okay. So I'm speechless. Everything I'm relating to, because, oh wow, because I've seen it, I'm living it. You know, I meet up with people and you try to talk to them. Sometimes you got to meet them where they're at, right? And so where they're at is like totally programmed, totally, you know, they're not ready for the truth. I know I've got a community of like 500 plus people, right? And it's growing slowly, right? But to give them something that would help them to benefit themselves,
right?
To get them to understand where we are going and where we need to go and where we see each other, they're like, they refuse to see the truth. They refuse to try to better themselves. They refuse to get deprogrammed, right? So it's like, wow. So it's nice to be literally around people that could, you know, I'm trying to uplift people, and it's nice to be around people that could uplift me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because too many times, you know, you're in that space for a reason, because that's your purpose, right? You got to help to bring the people to where they need to be, because people don't know who they are, right? And they refuse to know who they are. They think that sitting there and working for a 9 to 5 is who they are.
Right.
And that's not who they are. You know,
Correct.
they're here in this earth realm for much more than that.
Correct.
And so this is like, yeah, this is what we need to do. We need to slowly, like they say, get the truth out, because even with me trying to do my program, the people are so busy, right? They're busy doing nothing.
Right.
They're about the false news until they become the news.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
that's talked about. So
Yeah.
it's like it's time. It's time for our people to grow up. They may be 80 or 90 or whatever the age is, but they haven't grown up yet. They're still babies.
You're extremely, it's all energy conducive, right? Because this is just an avatar, right? You mean, you can
Exactly.
change your avatar on your Instagram or whatever. The kids can change their avatars on their mind blocks or whatever games they're playing. But in all actuality, this is not the real me. You see, I look like this. This is just how you can identify. What we really need to figure out is who is that person inside? What energy conduct is that individual, right? And collectively, this is all within the same current, and we get so much of the same current energy, then that's where change would come. But it definitely, we got to pull them from the dunya. In Islam, they say the dunya, you got to pull them from the dunya, or pull them from the hellfire, the self-purge that they're doing. They don't know the power. Our people don't. All colors, all cultures, all creeds. No, listen, we talking about racism here and there, and woo, woo, woo. But those the Gentiles that are, you know, the Gentiles are getting all the rowdy. They're not moving. They're not the Jewish community to the top flank that's actually running everything. You see how they keep the people just so. But if we operate on all colors, all cultures, all creeds, and it's all for love and it's all for change, but you got to have that power behind you to actually push the narrative. You can't, it's because it's written. If it's written, then who can stop it?
Exactly. We're only here in different colors to have an experience, right? So those experience is to help you to become more aware of who you are. You know, I could be I could be dark, right? But that there still doesn't change who I am and what my purpose is. But people seem to think that, you know, they will listen to somebody else that doesn't know anything that's going to persuade them to go down the drain than to listen to somebody that's trying to build them up. So we have a lot of work to do, guys. We do. You know what I mean? We can do it together, one step at a time, because this is what it's all about. We have to start somewhere.
I had a nice talk with Kyrie Irving when I was in the Bronx, and he's solid in his stance. He overstands what the system is. He's the one that bucked the whole system. Take my money, I ain't tripping, but I'm not sticking myself with anything, and I'm gonna stand in my square, and I'm a get these spirits about the stadium and all. He knows who he is. Know thyself.
Exactly. And that's the key right there. People don't know who they are. They only think that who they are is their title or what they're doing in the present. That has got nothing to do with who you really are. So we, yeah, it's a lot. This is very powerful.
I'm glad you're getting her energy, because I love to see her flow like this here. And you're also pulling out some things from Katerina as well. So I told her of course you can. This is your this is your here.
I'm your brother, Catalina. Yeah, this is real.
No, but you know, because we're in a conference, this is our second day conference. And the moment it's always about conversations, presenting and stuff, but I was a little bit confused about disco, if we can also hear some business conversations. So I want you to throw you here offer. I'm settling down my office in Saudi Arabia, and my partner there asked me the other day, what about if we establish a radio station in English there? And you are a platform in communication. Maybe you can be interested to come with me and have a radio station in English with music from New York and Bronx and whatever, music from Africa. If you have more artists, I am very interested to get more artists from Africa, because seems in Nigeria, in DRC, there is starting to have a community of artists in music that are doing great things, and I would like them to enter more in my European world and be more adaptations. So I'm throwing here this business proposal for you. If you want to help, there is only one station there of radio of how to say Western music. And my partner said, "Why we don't have our station?" And I said, "Okay, let's have it now." And now I'm meeting, so to be it's a sign of God. So if you come with us,
we could take it to a whole nother level. And you said that was Saudi. So we could take one of the pioneers of hip hop, KRS-One, who actually gives lectures and things in Harvard and Yale. And he's a pillar of the universal community. We could pull him in on a conversation like that with whatever needs to be done, and he can ambassador it. We just did something with Portia last week, and that's moving fast, extremely fast. So the sky's the limit. My brother Sergio will navigate all of this for everyone that I'm speaking to right now. And I definitely have a go, but it was a blessing to meet you all. And
Nice.
thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. I thank you so much, Robert, but I thank the folks that have met you, because without their presence, you wouldn't have given me this much time. No, he does. He gives me time, but I know so your impact, believe me, could you imagine? Moses prayed for God to forgive the Jews, forgive them, and God listened. But when Moses got in trouble, the Jews did not pray to God to forgive Moses. And that probably was the reason why Moses did not see the promised land. He was not forgiving. Could you imagine if we protect our leaders the same way they protect us? Could you imagine if we had protected Gaddafi? Could you imagine what is happening right now in Niger, whereby Mali and Sudan are all coming out to protect? How many lives are now being saved? If France wants to destroy Niger, let them send their soldiers and let's see what would happen. And they wouldn't, because they want Africans to kill Africans, and we are beginning to grow up. I thank you so much, my brothers and sisters. And Robert, please, I know you got to go, and we'll continue with our meeting, because right now we're getting down to not the visions, imaginaries. And I know for sure Catalina will sign up and become part of the 360 Wise Media. I will let her know all the different levels of participation, because she can have the backing that folks like I've mentioned earlier leverage to tell their story from the mountaintop.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you all again. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much. Okay.
You shall.
All right. Now.
You shall. Good man.
Salam, my brother.
Amen.
Right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and I thank you so much, and I hope I know for sure, really, I can almost bet my little widow's mite that this is the longest time many of you have given on a platform to talk to a bunch of strangers, particularly a nobody like Sergio. But the reality of it is this: the secret to relationship, which I believe I'm preaching to the choir, is integrity. I don't waste your time, and you're not going to waste my time. It doesn't matter your title. I mean, my sister talked about, Renee talked about who you are. Who you are has nothing to do with sir or Joe or even doctor or emperor or king of this. The reason being, I'm telling you, within my reach, I have access to anybody you can think of that is relevant. I'm telling you, Mecca or Medina or Rome, or it doesn't matter. And don't ask me how I do it. Everybody is uniquely gifted. The point is, you need to find your purpose. You need to find out what is it you're created to do. I'm not created to be a healthcare professional or a chemist, which was my first degree. No, I am really created to be a bridge builder. Period. I know my purpose. I also know there are thousands of people, Renette, within the 500 or 5,000 people that follow you. that need to leverage on what Catalina said. Re-engineering of the mind.
Yep.
We got to be patient, because luckily for us, we have 5, 6 or 10 or 12 people here today that believe in what we're doing, and that's more than enough. The reason being is it took generation after generation to get their mind to where their mind is. It has taken 400 years. The enemy has been working for 400 years. Because of that, we're not going to say we are going to give up. We can't. No, whenever we start is when we start. And I'm telling you, the seed you plant today will germinate, and before you know it, tomorrow will be changed. It doesn't matter whether we see the harvest in our own lifetime or not. That's not the goal. Moses did not see the promised land, and it didn't stop him from, trekking and wandering in the for 40 years. Muhammad did not really cherish the wealth of the Ottoman Empire or Sultan Suleiman, but he did what he did on the back of a camel or a donkey from Mecca to Medina. So when I look at these stories, it's so simple to me. And I want it to be simple to all of us. And it is simple to many of you here because you already believe in that. And that's why Renee said it all. The reason why we have stayed this long, even Catalina has stayed this long, I bet you this is probably one of the longest she stayed with a bunch of strangers, is only because somebody is saying what she has said to herself all this time, but people listening to you think we are crazy. Fine, I am crazy. I do not like the status quo. It's not working. It is not fair. It is not equitable. It is not right. It's not the truth. Since it's not, I have a right, just like somebody who is created in the image of God. So I am a little God. I don't know about you. If you don't think you're a God, that's your choice. Don't argue with me. I am entitled to my own belief. Exactly. And we must realize we must create something. The God is a creator, not a destroyer. Therefore, what are you creating?
There you go.
Exactly. And so, Mr. Davis, I cannot thank you enough. And I would. And again, I don't want anything for free. And everything we're doing here is really centered on the ultimate thing people want. The money is the last part of it. Even as Adam Smith would say, as the instruments of development, land, the money and the human resource and all that. Money is the least part of it. If you have a good package, money will follow it. Even this is why the opportunities in Africa, in the minerals and all those things, package it well. If France doesn't want to pay for it, listen, the reason why France is doing all this is because they've been paying $1 for something that is worth $10 for the last 200 years in Niger. Yeah. Go Google it. And they don't talk about it. So that's why I like Mr. Davis's style. We don't need to be talking about what we're going to do with a bunch of people. We're only going to, and I'm telling you, if I feel that you don't believe in what is being said, you don't have to worry about clicking out. I will click you out. And it has nothing to do with whether you're a millionaire or billionaire. That's not the issue for me. So with all due respect, we must succeed. We are going to succeed. There's no ifs and buts about it. And all of us will benefit. All of us will benefit equitably. So my thing is, I want to share something that I have, or maybe, I believe it was Catalina that had mentioned the Pegasus group from Taiwan, right? Was it, who mentioned about the Pegasus group?
No, I think it was
Pegasus is a very big investment company from Taiwan. And they're doing a bunch of things in Africa. And again, they come with their own agenda. But I would like us to start looking at some of the things we can turn into preparing for event in New York. And hopefully by then, Mr. Davis will be back. So we can narrow down some of the opportunities, whether it's in Zamfara, like my other brother said, or whether it is in Osun State with the Oni of Ife, who they discovered lots of gold in Osun State with Oni of Ife. How we can tell them, I want us to be prepared of the different eventualities. Say, okay, Mr. Francois, if you bring this, we can do this. Okay? And this is deliverable. Remember now, my secret to relationship is integrity. I wouldn't, if I tell somebody I'll be there tomorrow, which means I have taken iron out all the wrinkles of which.
You're getting choppy there. You're getting choppy, brother Joe. So Joe, you're getting a little bit choppy.
Sound like a
Okay, you go ahead and proceed and take it from there because my network might be bad. Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is that you may be choppy, but you're not being silenced because you know you're going to get this process done. And going back to Ife, you know, I didn't even realize why I was going. I was actually going there to film their 2017 event. And lo and behold, I found out that it was the king of Ife. And then when I got back, and he was on his way going back there the next year. So it's a weird thing that happens that we have a full circle, a 360-degree of how we go about things. And I do believe if we are wise, and that's why I do like Mr. Robert have progress. As far as anything else that we want to go over, Francois, you know, I know you are working diligently with your connections, and it's just, you know, that's why we're here to help assist in that navigation because you have the key to many doors as well. And regardless of how one we, you know, assist in those ways, that's what we're here for, to help to get to your destiny. And the only way to do that, as we both say all the time, a closed mouth never gets fed. So I definitely want us to be able to, you know, further those conversations and move forward. We'll probably, you know, complete this here soon enough. And then I'll be talking to Brother Joe later so we can move forward with some other things because we do have a lot of ground to cover. And if there's anything else that anybody else wants to get off, you know, we can definitely have those conversations. I think on your next step, I don't want to go too far off without some acknowledgement from you. Okay, yeah, I think he may have been lost. What we can do is we'll close out and pulls us back in. Now we're all connected on WhatsApp. Yeah, we'll call right back. All right, so Francois, we'll sign off now. We'll let Dr. Joe get himself together. Ronnie, we'll talk to you guys later on.
Thank you so
Right?
much.
All right, all the
Take care.
best.
Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Take
Sister.